Hi, and we're back again. This is the last part of the EDSQ entry level 3 simulation exam. Okay, so we're just doing a simulation. It's not the live one, it's just a simulation. We're just practicing and going through some of the types of questions and activities and types of tasks that you'll be asked to do in the live exam. Okay, note that you cannot upload files to the simulation. Just reminding you again that you can't upload files to the simulation. You can download some files and images, but you can't upload any files because it's just a simulation and there's no one to receive the files that you try to upload. Okay, so keep that in mind. Instead, what you'll do is that you'll upload your files to me, to your tutor in the Google Classroom. Okay, that's just going to happen during the simulation. In the actual exam, you will upload to the actual examining board. Okay, so keep that in mind. Otherwise, everything's pretty much the same, very similar. The questions will be different, but the task will be of the same type of challenge. Okay, so don't expect to see the exact same task in the exam that you've seen in the simulation. That won't happen. All right, so let's get started. First of all, we need to go to your PC and I'm going to go into your Google Classroom and go to the classroom and look for the assignment for the test simulation. So here it is here, and I will click on the assignment and it will drop down. Again, I don't click on the link here, I click on the view instructions so that I can see this option to hand the work in the your work section on the right hand side. So as you can see, we've handed in task 1, we've handed in trains, we've handed in the sales poster. We just need to continue with our exam. So there's task 1 that we did, and then there's trains, and then there's sales, the sales poster that we completed in the last part of the simulation. If we need to submit more, we'll just unsubmit it and add more files. Okay, so now it's time to click on the link to take us to the simulation itself. Simulation loads, we click on OK. After a while, you can see that you're getting used to it. You're moving faster now. You go to confirm. And this is nice because then when you go to the actual exam, the interface is very familiar. The environment's familiar to you. You don't feel so, well, too tense or too much anxiety. Okay, so we did part 1. We just finished part 2, okay? And part 2 was creating that online poster for the cake sale. And now we're on part 3. Part 3 is going to be quite straightforward, just questions really. So let's go through the questions and I'll explain some of the answers if there's any explanation needed. But obviously when you're doing the test, you just go through them as accurately, but as fast as you can. But always accuracy first, accuracy first. So let's click on start. So we're going to click on start. And we've done part 1, we've done part 2, we're going to go straight to part 3. To go to part 3, and we can see that there's 9 steps that we have to complete in part 3, which says multiple choice questions. All right, so it says there's 8 questions, so number 9 is not going to be relevant. So let's click on number 1 and see what the first question is. It says, Windows, iOS, and Linux are examples of what? And here's your options: of a computer, of an application, or of an operating system. And like I said, during this simulation and demonstration, I'm going to explain things to you and explain the answers to you, all right? So here, iOS is not the computer. A computer is the machine that you're using. An application, it sounds like the application, but it is an operating system, which in itself is a type of application, but more specifically, it's an operating system. Windows, iOS, and Linux are operating system, so we'll choose operating systems. If we move on to number 2, see, this is quite easy, isn't it? Go to number 2, and here it says, your friend is trying to save an 18 gigabyte file onto her computer. Click on the image below to show where the problem is. So this person's having trouble saving 18 gigabytes onto the computer. Let's see where the trouble is. So if we look here, and here, where the red line is usually, red line means there's a bit of a problem, And if you look here, it says 15.9 gigabytes free. So there's not enough space. So we should click here and we see the arrow pointing at this, and that hopefully will give us the point for this answer. So we go on to number 3. Parul is worried about the trail of data she is leaving behind when she goes online. What advice would help her keep her digital footprint small? Okay, so it says, make sure you always agree to install cookies. I'm not sure about that. Have your privacy settings high. Have your privacy settings high, okay? Or use only Wi-Fi connections. Now these all sound like fairly interesting and wise pieces of advice, but when you look closer, they're not always wise. For instance, you don't need to use only Wi-Fi connections, and you don't need to always agree to install cookies, because you might not want a cookie on your machine. So if we do a process of elimination, it means have your privacy settings high to help reduce her digital footprint. So by having your privacy settings high, it means that what information that you use is not shared as easily as if your privacy settings were lower down, okay? So I would say have your privacy settings set high. And your digital footprint, just to point this out, is as you browse the internet, you are leaving a trail behind you, just like footprints in the sand. And people can follow those footprints and find out information about you, just as they would do if they were following you along a beach. They'll know whether you turned left or right, whether you sat down, whether someone else joined you on the beach, or there was a gathering of people. You see more footprints around you, and by using that information, they can take advantage of your internet browsing. So you need to keep your digital footprint as small as possible by doing one thing, having your privacy settings as set high, and there are other things that you can do as well. So have your privacy settings high. Number 4, you are using a shared computer in the library. You log into your bank account. A tick box message comes up asking, remember me on this computer? Should you tick the box? The answer is absolutely not. You're in a library, that's a public place. It says no, anyone using this computer could get into your bank account without using a password. If you put yes, it says you'll be able to log in quicker. Yes, you will, but so will the person that comes in behind you and sits on that same computer in the public library. Or if you click yes, if you want to use this computer for online banking in the future, again, you are leaving a digital footprint that people could take advantage of. So what you'll do is you'll click on no and make sure that all your data and your information comes off of the machine when you leave, all right? Especially in a public library or any other public place. So the answer is no. So we go to 5. You are most at risk of getting a virus on your computer if you spend a lot of time online gaming, like I used to, edit your profile on a social media website, or click on a link in an email from someone you do not know. The answer is click on a link in an email from someone you do not know. If you don't know who it is, just delete the email. Otherwise, there's a good chance that you can get yourself a virus on your machine, and you do not want that. Okay, so click on there. And also make sure that your antivirus is up to date. I'll just throw that in for free. Okay, let's go to number 6. We're almost there. It's 2 more after this. If you use free public Wi-Fi, there is a risk that information you send can be seen by other people. Okay. There's a risk that your antivirus software will not work. Or there's a risk that your device will run out of power very quickly. Okay, so number 3 is nonsense. It can't be number 3. Your antivirus software will not work. Well, that's not true. So that's the process of elimination. But the factual answer is information you send can be seen by other people. Because if you use free public Wi-Fi, other people can access that Wi-Fi, and also they can also put a false similar looking Wi-Fi up there, and you may log on to that and they could track your information and see your information, or people might be accessing this public Wi-Fi themselves and taking advantage of people who connect to it. So really and truly, make sure that you are very careful of the websites that you visit. For instance, you don't want to visit your bank website and start doing banking online if you're on a free public Wi-Fi. I would suggest that you don't do that, all right? Because people could possibly see your transactions, your bank account details and sort code and such, all right? So keep that in mind. So let's go for number 1 here. Information you send can be seen by other people. Let's go to number 7. Martin is trying to come up with a password for a new email account. Good for you, Martin. That's a sensible thing to do. Which of the following is the strongest password? Okay, so let's look through them. TH3 Villa with a capital V. That looks really good. I like that. A7T0 small n. Then we got capital V, and then 1, and then we got 2 L's, I'm assuming that is, and then capital R. Okay, that's good. And then we got Aston Villa. Well, let's look at Aston Villa down here. It's not terrible, but there's no numbers in there. So we'll need one with numbers in it. That'll be better. This one here, the second one, has 2 numbers in it. Oh, it has 3 numbers in it. It has a lowercase n, capital V, capital R, whereby the top one only has 1 number in it. So I think I would choose the middle one. This one looks nice and strong. So this is the answer for me. So let's go to number 8, the final one. You are using a social media app and see a racist comment. What is the best way to report it? Some people, hey. All right, well, we can use the app's own reporting system and tell the people who is running the app that there's somebody being silly on their system. Or you can report it to a friend and say to your friend, I'm not very happy about this, in a coffee shop, sipping your tea or coffee and eating cake, and you can complain to your friend, but I'm not sure how effective that will be. Or you can email your internet service provider who lets all these websites get access to your home. Really and truly, they can't really do much about it. I think the first port of call would be you use the app's own reporting system and let the people whose app it is take responsibility for their users' behavior. Okay, so it'll be the first one. And then if you go to number 9, it says your observation record. Your tutor will upload your observation record here once you have completed the assessment. So what you'll do is you put your hand up and say, I've finished. Well, not shout it out in the exam because other people will be working, but let the person who's monitoring the exam know that you finished, and then your tutor will come over and then they'll upload your observation record. But you'll be notified about all that before you start your exam, okay? So that's it. We've finished. We've done it all. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something from it. And what you can do now is keep watching this video over and over again, because I may have spoken a bit too fast at some points and you might not have captured everything I've said. But then you can always, as I always say, pause me, rewind me, and play me again. Can't you? You're in control. Good luck, and I'll see you in the next videos. Bye-bye now.